Jupiter in Leo, 2026 to 2027. The Great Awakening of the Heart, Part 1. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Message from the Sky. I'm truly grateful you're here today. Take a slow, deep breath. Allow yourself to become fully present, and imagine looking up at the night sky. For thousands of years, people have searched the heavens for meaning. Long before modern science, our ancestors watched the movements of the planets and noticed recurring patterns between the rhythms of the sky and the rhythms of human life. Whether you see astrology as a spiritual language, a symbolic tool for some, or simply an ancient tradition, it has inspired humanity for millennia to look inward as much as upward. Today, we are entering one of the most important astrological transits of the year. After approximately 12 years, Jupiter enters the magnificent sign of Leo, where it will remain from June 30th, 2026, until late July 2027. Astrologically, this marks the beginning of an entirely new chapter, not only for individuals, but for the collective. The energetic focus gradually shifts away from the nurturing waters of emotional security, home, family, and root sand toward the radiant fire of Leo. The invitation now is different. Instead of asking, "Where do I belong?" Leo asks, "Who am I when I have the courage to shine?" This isn't simply about becoming louder.com. It isn't about becoming famous. It isn't about demanding attention. Instead, Jupiter in Leo invites us to remember something many of us forgot a long time ago, that every human being carries a unique light. And perhaps, it's finally time to stop hiding yours. What is Jupiter? To understand this extraordinary transit, we first need to understand Jupiter itself. Astronomically, Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. More than 1,300 Earths could fit inside it. Its immense size has fascinated humanity for thousands of years. In mythology, this giant planet became associated with the supreme ruler of the heavens. The Romans called him Jupiter. The Greeks knew him as Zeus. He was the king of the gods, the guardian of justice.com, the protector of sacred laws, the wielder of lightning. But beyond his immense power, Jupiter represented something even greater. Wisdom, not merely knowledge. Wisdom, the kind that comes from experience, from perspective, from seeing the bigger picture. That symbolism carried into astrology. Today, astrologers often refer to Jupiter as the great the planet traditionally associated with expansion, opportunity, optimism, faith, learning, philosophy, abundance, generosity, and growth. But here's something many people misunderstand. Jupiter does not magically hand out success. Instead, Jupiter expands. Whatever it touches tends to become larger. If you are cultivating wisdom, Jupiter can help that wisdom flourish. If you are building meaningful relationships, Jupiter can deepen them. If you are developing a talent, Jupiter may encourage it to blossom. But expansion works both ways. If we feed fear, fear can grow. If we feed arrogance, arrogance can grow. If we avoid responsibility, that avoidance may also become more visible. Jupiter simply magnifies what already exists. Imagine a magnifying glass. It doesn't create the object. It simply helps you see it more clearly. That's Jupiter. The nature of Leo. Now let's meet the sign Jupiter is entering. Leo is ruled by the sun. And in astrology, the sun represents our essential identity, our vitality, our life force, the deepest expression of who we truly are. Leo is a fixed fire sign. Fire represents inspiration, passion, creativity, life itself. And because Leo is fixed, it doesn't simply ignite a spark, it sustains it. Think of the warmth of a fireplace. Steady, radiant, consistent. Leo teaches us that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes courage looks like showing your true self, creating something meaningful, expressing your emotions honestly, standing for what you believe in with kindness instead of force. At its highest expression, Leo symbolizes creative expression, leadership, generosity, joy, romance, children, playfulness, confidence, the heart, and perhaps most importantly, the courage to be authentic. Healthy Leo doesn't ask, "How can I become more important than everyone else?" Healthy Leo asks, "How can I use my gifts to brighten the lives of others?" That's an enormous difference. Because true leadership doesn't demand attention. It naturally inspires it. The shadow of Leo. Every zodiac sign carries both light and shadow. Leo is no exception. When disconnected from its heart, Leo can become trapped in performance instead of authenticity. Validation becomes more important than purpose. Recognition becomes more important than contribution. The desire to be admired replaces the desire to genuinely serve. We see this everywhere today. The pressure to appear successful, to chase followers instead of fulfillment, to seek applause instead of meaning, to curate perfection rather than live authentically. Jupiter entering Leo doesn't automatically create these tendencies. It simply shines a brighter light on them. For some people, this transit may become an incredible period of confidence and creativity. For others, it may expose unhealthy patterns built around ego, comparison, or external validation. And that brings us to one of the most important questions of this entire transit. What kind of leader are you becoming? Not necessarily in your career, not in politics, not on social media, but in your own life. Because leadership begins with how we lead ourselves. Do we make choices from fear, or from love, from insecurity, or from inner confidence? From the desire to impress, or the desire to express? Jupiter in Leo gently asks us to examine these questions over the coming year, not with judgment, but with honesty. Why this transit matters. Astrologically, Jupiter changes signs approximately every 12 months, completing one full journey around the zodiac in about 12 years. That means the last time Jupiter traveled through Leo was roughly 12 years ago. Think back to that chapter of your life. Who were you becoming? What dreams were beginning to emerge? Where were you learning to become more visible? Life never repeats itself exactly.com. But astrology often describes cycles rather than isolated events. Each time Jupiter returns to Leo, it invites us to revisit the themes of courage, creativity, generosity, and authentic self-expression from a new level of maturity. This time, however, you are not the same person you were 12 years ago. You've lived, you've learned, you've lost, you've grown, you've healed, and now, the universe, through the symbolic language of astrology, seems to ask another question. What are you ready to become now? Jupiter in Leo, 2026 to 2027. The Great Awakening of the Heart, Part 2. Welcome back, beautiful souls. Now that we've explored the symbolism of Jupiter and the archetype of Leo, let's look at what happens when these two powerful forces come together. Many astrologers consider this one of the most uplifting combinations in the zodiac, not because it guarantees an easy year, but because it invites us to grow through courage rather than fear. Jupiter asks us to expand, Leo asks us to shine. Together, they remind us that true growth happens when we stop shrinking ourselves to fit into places we have already outgrown. The collective energy shift. Every time Jupiter changes signs, the collective focus gradually changes as well. Think of it like a teacher entering a classroom with a new lesson plan. The previous lesson is complete. A new chapter begins. Over the past year, while Jupiter traveled through Cancer, many people felt called to focus on emotional healing, family, home, belonging, ancestry, and inner security. Cancer teaches us how to build a safe home within ourselves. Leo asks something different. Once your roots are strong, what will you grow? Instead of asking, where do I belong? Leo asks, what unique gift was I born to share? The collective lesson becomes one of visibility, not visibility for vanity, visibility for purpose. This is a year to create, to inspire, to encourage, to perform, to teach, to lead, to celebrate life, to reconnect with the playful part of ourselves that existed before fear taught us to hide. Many adults spend years believing they must become more serious to be successful. Leo gently reminds us that joy is not childish, joy is powerful. The child within us is often the first part to know what truly lights us up. During this transit, many people may rediscover forgotten passions, abandoned dreams, artistic talents, or hobbies they once loved. That inner spark deserves attention. Jupiter expands everything. One of the most important principles in astrology is simple. Jupiter amplifies whatever it touches. Imagine turning up the volume on a speaker. The music becomes louder, but so does the static. That is Jupiter. If your confidence is healthy, it may blossom. If your creativity has been waiting patiently, it may finally find expression. If your generosity has been quietly growing, it may inspire many others. But Jupiter also magnifies what is out of balance. Small acts of pride can become arrogance. Healthy confidence can become superiority. Pleasure can become excess. Generosity can become extravagance. Ambition can become obsession. The planet itself is not good or bad. It simply asks us, what are you choosing to expand? That question may become your compass throughout this entire transit. The beautiful gifts of Jupiter in Leo. Let's begin with the light. Jupiter in Leo with an increase in optimism, creative inspiration, confidence, and heartfelt leadership. This is a wonderful period for starting a business, writing a book, launching a YouTube channel, creating art, teaching, public speaking, developing leadership skills, mentoring others, performing, sharing your wisdom, building something that reflects your authentic self. Leo reminds us that every masterpiece first began as someone's courage to create. Perhaps your gift isn't painting, perhaps it's teaching, perhaps it's healing, perhaps it's parenting, perhaps it's building communities, perhaps it's simply making another person's day brighter. Every authentic gift matters. Jupiter asks us not to hide those gifts any longer. The shadow side. Now let's talk about the challenges. Every transit brings opportunities. Every opportunity brings responsibility. The greatest temptation during Jupiter in Leo is confusing attention with purpose. Our modern world often rewards visibility, likes, followers, popularity, status, recognition.com. There is nothing inherently wrong with any of these things, but they become dangerous when they replace authenticity. Ask yourself, would I still create this if nobody applauded? Would I still help others if no one noticed? Would I still follow my calling if it never made me famous? Those questions reveal whether your heart or your ego is leading the way. Another challenge is excess. Leo enjoys beauty, luxury, celebration. Jupiter can make all of these feel even more attractive. Treat yourself. Celebrate success. Enjoy life's pleasures. But don't mistake spending for abundance. Real abundance begins within. Otherwise, no amount of luxury will ever feel like enough. A year to heal the inner child. One of my favorite themes of this transit is the invitation to reconnect with your inner child. Before the world told you who you should become. Who were you? What fascinated you? What made ours disappear because you loved doing it? Children rarely create because they expect applause. They create because creating feels natural. Leo reminds us of that innocence. This year, allow yourself to paint, dance, sing, write, travel, laugh, play, build, imagine, dream again, not because it is productive, but because it nourishes your soul. Sometimes healing doesn't arrive through doing more. Sometimes healing arrives through remembering who you were before fear took over. Practical do's. Here are some practical ways to work with this energy. Start the creative project you've been postponing. Learn a new artistic skill. Practice public speaking. Encourage someone else to shine. Celebrate your achievements without guilt. Spend time with children. Volunteer as a mentor. Wear colors that make you feel alive. Develop healthy confidence. Follow what genuinely brings you joy. Confidence grows through action, not through waiting until you feel ready. Practical don'ts. Now, a few gentle reminders. Avoid comparing your journey with someone else's. Avoid performing a life that doesn't truly belong to you. Avoid spending money simply to impress people. Avoid letting praise define your worth. Avoid letting criticism silence your voice. Avoid believing that louder automatically means stronger. True confidence is remarkably quiet. Jupiter retrograde. Every year, Jupiter appears to move backward from Earth's perspective. Astrologers call this a retrograde. For this cycle, Jupiter is expected to be retrograde from approximately December 2026 until April 2027. In astrology, retrogrades symbolize review rather than failure. Imagine climbing a mountain. Halfway up, you stop. You look back. You notice how far you've already come. You adjust your path before continuing. That is Jupiter retrograde. It is not a punishment. It is an invitation. Instead of chasing bigger dreams, ask whether those dreams still belong to your heart. Refine, reflect, reconnect, then continue forward with greater wisdom. Collective themes. From an astrological perspective, Leo is traditionally associated with themes such as leadership, visibility, children, creativity, entertainment, and those who occupy prominent public roles. During this transit, astrologers may interpret increased public attention around leaders, celebrities, artists, athletes, and cultural figures through that symbolic lens. Questions about leadership, integrity, influence, and the use of personal power may become more noticeable in public conversation. It's important to remember that astrology describes symbolic cycles rather than certainties. It can offer a framework for reflection, but it cannot predict specific events or determine the actions of individuals. The invitation for each of us is to focus less on how others lead, and more on how we choose to lead in our own lives. Because every family, every classroom, every workplace, every friendship needs someone willing to lead with courage and kindness. As we prepare for the final part of this journey, remember this: the brightest light is never the one that demands attention. It is the one that quietly illuminates the path for others. And perhaps that is exactly the kind of light Jupiter in Leo is asking each of us to become. Jupiter in Leo, 2026 to 2027. The Great Awakening of the Heart, Part 3. Now comes the question many of you have been waiting for. What does Jupiter in Leo mean for your zodiac sign? Remember, these interpretations are most accurate when read for your rising sign, although your sun sign can also provide meaningful insight. These are symbolic themes rather than fixed predictions. Your unique birth chart always adds additional layers. Let's begin. Aries. For Aries, Jupiter activates the 5th house, the house of creativity, romance, children, joy, and self-expression. This is one of the most exciting placements of the entire zodiac. If you've been waiting for permission to create something meaningful, this is your invitation. Whether it's writing a book, starting a business, learning an instrument, launching a YouTube channel, or simply allowing yourself to enjoy life again, Jupiter encourages you to express yourself fearlessly. Love may also become more playful and passionate. Your affirmation: I create from my heart, not from fear. Taurus. For Taurus, Jupiter enters your 4th house. Your attention naturally turns toward home, family, emotional security, and your roots. You may feel inspired to renovate your home, move, reconnect with relatives, or create a space that truly reflects who you are becoming. Inner healing may be just as important as external success. Remember, a strong tree grows because of deep roots. Your affirmation: I build a peaceful foundation for my future. Gemini. Gemini, Jupiter illuminates your 3rd house. Communication becomes one of your greatest gifts this year. Your voice carries greater influence. Teaching, writing, speaking, podcasting, social media, and learning all receive supportive energy. Stay curious. The conversations you have this year could open doors you never expected. Your affirmation: my voice carries wisdom and inspires others. Cancer. Cancer, Jupiter enters your 2nd house. This is the house of income, personal resources, values, and self. Many astrologers associate this placement with opportunities to improve financial stability, especially by developing your natural talents. But the deeper lesson isn't simply about earning more. It's about recognizing your own value before asking the world to recognize it. Your affirmation: I am worthy of abundance because I value myself. Leo. Leo, this is your year. Jupiter enters your 1st house, beginning a new 12-year personal cycle. You may feel more confident, optimistic, courageous, and ready to step into a new version of yourself. Others may naturally notice you more. The greatest opportunity is authenticity.com. The greatest challenge is pride. Lead with your heart, not your ego. Your affirmation: I shine by being completely myself. Virgo. Virgo, Jupiter activates your 12th house. This is a deeply spiritual placement. The outer world may seem quieter while your inner world becomes richer. Healing old wounds, releasing limiting beliefs, restoring your energy. Dreams, meditation, therapy, solitude, and spiritual practices may become especially meaningful. Sometimes growth happens in silence. Your affirmation: I trust the quiet seasons of my soul. Libra. Libra, Jupiter blesses your 11th house. Friendships, communities, dreams for the future. This is an excellent year to surround yourself with people who genuinely support your growth. Collaborations may flourish. New friendships may feel deeply aligned with your purpose. Choose relationships that encourage your authentic self. Your affirmation: I attract people who celebrate my light. Scorpio. Scorpio, Jupiter reaches the highest point of your chart, your 10th house. Career, reputation, and public recognition become important themes. You may be offered greater responsibility, leadership opportunities, promotions, professional visibility. Remember that real authority comes from integrity. Leadbyexample.com. Your affirmation: success flows naturally when I lead with purpose. Sagittarius. Sagittarius, Jupiter is your ruling planet. As it enters your 9th house, your desire to explore life grows stronger. Travel, higher education, philosophy, spirituality, teaching, publishing. Your world expands through learning. Stay curious. The greatest adventure may not simply be visiting another country, It may be discovering a new version of yourself. Your affirmation: every experience expands my wisdom. Capricorn. Capricorn, Jupiter moves through your 8th house. Transformation becomes your teacher. You may experience important lessons around trust, intimacy, shared finances, investments, or emotional healing. Old fears may finally be released. Remember, transformation rarely asks permission, but it often creates space for remarkable growth. Your affirmation: I release control and welcome transformation. Aquarius. Aquarius, Jupiter activates your 7th house. Relationships become one of your greatest classrooms. Business partnerships, friendships, marriage, collaboration. Healthy relationships encourage growth rather than limit it. Allow yourself to be fully seen. The right people won't ask you to become someone else. Your affirmation: authentic relationships help me grow. Pisces. Pisces, Jupiter enters your 6th house. Daily life becomes the focus. Health, work, habits, routine. Small improvements practiced consistently may completely transform your life over the next year. Take care of your body. Organize your schedule. Celebrate progress instead of perfection. Your affirmation: small daily choices create extraordinary results. A final reflection. Beautiful soul. As we come to the end of today's journey, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Jupiter does not create greatness. It magnifies what is already growing within you. If you cultivate kindness, kindness expands. If you cultivate courage, courage expands. If you cultivate creativity, creativity expands. And if you choose to live from your heart has the remarkable ability to inspire others to do the same. Perhaps that is the true message of Jupiter in Leo. Not to become someone new, but to become more fully yourself. To stop hiding your gifts. To stop waiting for permission. To remember that the world has never needed another copy of someone else. It needs the unique light that only you can offer. As you move through this new cycle, be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress. Learn from your mistakes. Lead with generosity. And whenever you feel uncertain, place your hand over your heart, because that has always been Leo's greatest compass. Not applause, not recognition, not perfection. The heart. Thank you, beautiful souls, for spending this time with me. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which area of your life are you most excited to expand during Jupiter in Leo? And if you found this video meaningful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may need this message today. Until next time, keep looking to the sky, keep listening to your heart, and remember, the universe is always speaking. This is Message from the Sky. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and may your journey be filled with courage, wisdom, and light.